Hello students, welcome to Byju's classes. Welcome to the session on India Yearbook. Before I begin the session, I just want to have confirmation from your side. Is my voice clear? If so, please raise your hand. So there is no problem, right, from your side? So all of you can hear me. Please raise your hand if you can hear me. Yep. So guys, before we begin with the session, I just want to tell you what all things you need to keep with yourself so that in between the session, you need not move around and you can actually have everything with you and start making notes of the points that we say. So the first thing I want you to keep with you is India Yearbook 2016, right? Please have it. Have pencil or pen where you can mark whichever you're comfortable with. Then have one or two white sheets, preferably two. On one white sheet, please mark as prelims, India Yearbook prelims. Another white sheet, mark it as India Yearbook mains. The reason is, whenever we'll be seeing particular pages, before your exam when you need to revise, you just need to keep the prelims page with you. You have to open that particular page and you have to revise only those. So one day or 1 week before the exam, when you are actually revising India Yearbook, so that should be from your prelims, immediately after August, once you can focus on the mains related areas, right? Along with this, we have given two handouts. One is regarding the quiz that you can download or see later. These are questions from the India Yearbook, which I will be teaching you people, and you can take few questions whenever I say, and remaining questions you can take immediately after the session. Along with this, we have given a copy a file which actually has additional information. It's an handout. Please download this and keep it with you. In that notes, the topics are divided as per the chapters which are present in India Yearbook. So whenever I complete one chapter or whenever we see an issue, if detailed explanation regarding that issue is required, I will, if detailed information about that issue is required, I will ask you to open the notes that has been given. So there we will be seeing new information. So these four things, please have it with you so that it's easy for us to understand the session in a flow. Today's session, I will be covering 9 chapters, 9 to 10 chapters based on the time. So if I say 9 chapters, it is still defense. Then what exactly you have to focus in the lecture? I'm going slow initially, mainly because I'm getting few messages where students are having problem with the voice. So it will be rectified in the first 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm just going slow, right? So first 9 chapters we'll be seeing today, that is still defense. The second important thing what all of you should remember is that India Yearbook actually covers from Jan 2015 to almost November or December 2015. So ideally, we are actually covering current affairs of previous years related to Government of India and the related schemes in the India Yearbook. If you see every chapter, apart from the first two, when you begin with agriculture, every chapter is divided on the basis of ministries. So, when you have ministry websites and you are reading only till November or December 2015, the next question which students raise is that, so what about the recent things from that ministry? So for this, the additional notes actually consist of new schemes, that is post Jan 2016. We have included, if there is any ambiguity regarding the scheme, we will cover it later once the government comes out with the proper notification. But as of now, we have visited the Ministry of Agriculture website. We have taken all the new schemes which are released post Jan so that your work in these areas are minimized. And third most important point that you need to remember is that India Yearbook based questions, whether it is in prelims or mains, usually comes on factual topics. When I say factual, questions can actually come on arrangement of rivers from north to south, different schemes, different ministries, or they may ask you regarding national symbols. So questions from India Yearbook is usually factual. Now, if I start giving you notes from the book, then I have to actually copy paste or rewrite it. Most of the students will not be comfortable with copy pasting, but if I rewrite it, the biggest issue is that there will be change in language. Please remember, guys, if questions come from ministry websites or the books issued by government, then usually the language of the question will also be taken from these websites only. At max, the change can be by adding not or removing not. They negate the statement or they remove the negation, so that students, if they have not read properly, it is difficult. So again and again I am saying, language should be ideally the language which is present in the book and the language which is present in the ministry website. So please don't try to read anything which reframes the language present in the book. This is the reason why we say we want you to have the book with you, sit and mark those lines which are important, and whenever you read, revise. I want you to revise the same language again and again. I hope it's clear. So please ensure the language in the book and the language that you are revising is same. Then there are some interrelated topics where we will be diverting a bit from the India Yearbook concepts. because we need to explain the interrelated topics to think what type of questions actually come, right? So these are the 5 points that I wanted you to know. At last, before we begin with the session, I just wanted to say, last week you had a session on current affairs which actually covered August and September. We covered around 10 topics, and students, there are few students who are skeptic about, is this 10 topics enough? Right? I'm just giving a clarification because students should not be confused. See, August and September 2015 current affairs also includes topics from India Yearbook because it is actually from Jan to December. So there again we will be seeing some topics which are overlapping. So the topics which were present in India Yearbook during this time was not discussed in the session. The economy related one, especially which we will be seeing from economic survey, because economic survey covers from March 2015 to Feb 2016 almost. So we did not take up topics related to India Yearbook and economic survey. Again, there are few topics when we take for Jan, right, March 2016, during that time we have to link back to some issues which actually happened during August and September. So due to this, what happened? August, September, there was only 10 topics which we discussed. So now, over a period of time, the remaining topics which were important will also be discussed. So don't be panicked that only few topics are covered and within 2 hours it's not possible to cover August and September. We know, but whatever sources that we are taking, everything is related to current affairs. So if I'm taking India Yearbook, then it also talks about August to September. Economic survey also talks, and other issues will also link back. So with this, I hope it's clear. Let's move to India Yearbook, where before I begin, I just want to give you 4 to 5 questions which are general in nature and which you would have read in your geography and other books. So please take first question which is there on your screen. Try to answer them. So the question is, consider the following statements regarding Great Desert and Little Desert. 2 statements are given. One is regarding Great Desert and the other one is regarding Little Desert. Again, a factual information from India Yearbook. This question was chosen mainly because in none of your NCERT books, whether you take any book 6th to 12th, Thar Desert in India is not explained in detail, especially in no NCERT they make a mention of Great Desert and Little Desert and they don't give proper explanation regarding that. So that is the reason why we say there are some topics if we can read from NCERT book, it feels complete. So though this is geography based, some points which are missing in geography books is covered in India Yearbook and we will be seeing them. I will be explaining the answer when we actually see this particular point in India Yearbook. I just want you to try, because I know you wouldn't have come across this if you have not read India Yearbook. So don't be panicked. Next, second question. The rivers which originate from the Purvanchal, which we call Eastern Himalayas, are divided into west flowing and east flowing. The west flowing rivers which originate in Manipur, Mizoram and southern Nagaland are tributaries of what? So this is important mainly because if you can see Barak River, Government of India is planning to establish waterway on this. Last time when government planned to construct Tipaimuk Dam, UPSC asked a question, Barak River is tributary of which of the following rivers? So anything can come with respect to this. And this is present in India Yearbook, where I will be giving some additional information. So that will help you to cover this up. Third question, if you take, I hope you are answering. Third question, if you take, which of the following river basins is not part of major river basins? In India, river basins are divided into major, medium, minor, based upon the area. If any river basin is more than 20,000 square kilometer, then we usually call that river basin to be major river basins. So I have given 4 rivers. I don't know how many of you are even aware of these rivers. Sabarmati, most of you might have heard. But apart from that, the other rivers. So these 12 river basins, which are major river basins in India, can be asked in UPSC from geography point of view, which will be covered in India Yearbook. So you need not worry. Please just try to see what exactly it is. Then again, from geography point of view, you have a question. As per 2011 census, the highest population density is in which of the following states? 2001 census, it was different. 2011 census, it is different. So, please try to know population related questions. Next, National Anthem was not used as a patriotic song to inspire people in which of the following freedom struggle? It's not given in negative context, but if you know when it was first sung, that is, when was National Anthem first sung, if you know, you will be able to answer this history related question. Right? These 5 questions I wanted you to see. I'll just give you 1 more minute. Just try to think and answer. After this, please keep India Yearbook in front of you. I'll show you the questions again. It is there in the quiz. First 5 questions I have showed. So just see it quickly. We'll start with the session. Don't be panic if there is any questions. We will be addressing it because I have not explained anything from India Yearbook. I have just given you questions. You can reduce your time of writing by marking it in the book itself. Don't write every point. Just write, underline and write what type of question is expected from that. That should be enough. And if the question is tricky, we will make around 50 to 60 questions. Wherever I say you may expect a question in this language in quizzes. First, I have given only 15 questions as of now. Once we complete additional 50 questions I will give you apart from the questions which we will be seeing along with the session. But once we complete India Yearbook. Yep. So guys, at last, let's begin with India Yearbook. After every 2 chapters, I'll spend 2 to 5 minutes in answering your questions. During the session, you can ask questions which the co-organizer will be helping you out. But if any explanation is required, if any repetition is required, that we can do after every 2 chapters, where I will answer personally, and most importantly, there are few very good questions asked by students. So if it requires detailed analysis and if we could not cover it in the session, we will pick those questions and send detailed answers not only to those who asked those questions but also for every student, because it is worth reading. Right? So, shall we begin with the session? So before I begin, can you please raise your hands if my voice is clear? So guys, please open the first chapter. I'll be telling you page numbers and I'll tell you paragraphs and lines within paragraphs where you have questions, right? So to begin with, let's take the first chapter, that is land and the people. If you have read geography NCERT books, you would have already come across this book where the book gives you detailed information about India. So there will be many things related to geography which will be covered here. I will identify those lines which are important for you because of the language which is present here. Right? So first thing, if you see, first page, third paragraph, first line, where you're talking about the location of India. Please remember this: north, east. UPSC may do factual error. Usually UPSC doesn't do fact or doesn't give factual error questions. But last time there were 1 or 2 factual error based, because they had given, rather than giving it southern hemisphere, they gave it as northern hemisphere with respect to westerlies. So just know this, if at all, if there is any mistake in this line in the examination hall, that will be related to the degrees, and it is important for you to know this. No need of the north-south and east-west corridors, but what is more important is the coastline. When we take transportation, I will be telling you how to remember ports and all. Government of India is actually expecting 1 lakh crore investment in development of ports. Till now, you have 12 major ports in India. They want to develop other 8 major ports which they are yet to identify. Once we get this, hopefully within a week or so, we may get the information. Once we get this, by the time we take transportation, we will be seeing other 8 ports which are important. So here you can write, please see ports once. Please see all the major ports once. When I say see, doesn't mean that you have to remember it, which is there in West Coast and which is there in East Coast. I want you people to remember it from north to south, whether it is on Western Coast or Eastern Coast. So the question can be, arrange the ports in India from north to south, and the ports names can be Kandla Port, Kolkata Port, Mumbai Port, Paradweep Port. Now arrange these ports from north to south. So when I give only on the west coast or when I give only on the east coast, it is easy for you people. But if I ask you to arrange it from north to south on either side, then latitudinal variations will be there. There you have to be careful. So this is the reason why I'm asking, please write it here. When I take transportation, the chapter which is there in the book, I will be helping you to arrange and remember it also. But I want to take it along with the 8 other things. Next, the physical background. Every NCERT books also says this, but India Yearbook confirms it that Afghanistan is your neighbor, right? So from this physical background, 2 geography based questions which you have to remember and which you have to read. One is related to states in India which share boundary with neighboring countries. So if you open the additional information notes that I have given you, I have given Indian neighborhood, and can you see for Bangladesh you have 5 states, China 5 states, Pakistan only 4, Nepal on the other hand has 5, Myanmar 4, Bhutan has 4, Afghanistan only 1. Please try to see which these states are. It is more than enough. Why I'm asking you to see again and again? You have elections in Assam, West Bengal, which actually borders Bangladesh, where illegal migration is an issue. And when you take Myanmar, Myanmar is interesting for us for several reasons, because of Aung San Suu Kyi, and also because recently we had an operation to curb insurgency, and again Indian government is having talks with Nagaland insurgency groups. Usually when controversies are there, UPSC shifts the question to geography, especially related to IR. So please be prepared. If you have seen in the exam, it should take not more than 30 seconds for you to answer. Second, most of you, not less than 90% of the people, may be knowing that if you consider the length, it is Bangladesh which has the highest, right? The border, if you see, Bangladesh has the highest. But if UPSC asks you, arrange the countries in increasing to decreasing order or in increasing order of the length of the borders, and if they give you China, Pakistan, Nepal and Myanmar, you will not have confusion with Bhutan, Afghanistan. If you know Bangladesh, you may not be having confusion, but students may get confused with respect to Nepal, Myanmar, or with respect to China and Pakistan. So I want you to remember this in an order. So in the additional notes, the facts that you need to remember, which is there in geography, but again I'm repeating here because questions are expected on these lines. So please ensure border management is an issue today. So question can come on borders. So please be prepared. And for those who don't know, there are different names given to borders. For Afghanistan and Pakistan, the border line is called as Durand line. India and Pakistan, the line is Radcliffe line. India and China, it is McMahon line. So UPSC indirectly had asked a question about Radcliffe line in 2014. So please be prepared on the different lines. From internal security point, where you can get a question with respect to border management, which border is managed by which central armed police forces. So if you take Pakistan, it is border security force. Bangladesh, it is border security force. I told you, India Yearbook session, you get questions which are factual. So we are saying all those which can come. Pakistan is BSF, Bangladesh is BSF. If you take Myanmar, you have Assam Rifles, and now along with them even BSF is present. And all centrally armed police forces like BSF, CRPF, everything comes under which ministry? Ministry of Home Affairs. But Assam Rifles comes under Ministry of Defense. So if you take BSF, CRPF, CISF, ITBP, all these comes under Ministry of Home Affairs. Right? So you saw three. China, it is ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, with Bhutan and Nepal, where no visa is required and there is open borders, you have SSB. Important industries and your airports are actually taken care by CISF. Wherever there is internal violence, that is if you have riots, right, in Naxal affected areas, wherever insurgency is there. So if people are fighting against the government by staying within a community, at that point of time, it is usually CRPF which is used. You might have heard of Indian peacekeeping forces, which is usually sent under United Nations mission to African countries. In African countries, it is not fight between two states. It is usually fight between two communities within a state. So at that point, you want specially trained people. So it is usually CRPF people who are sent on these missions. There will be other groups, selected groups, but CRPF, which is well trained in this, especially if communities are fighting, they know how to handle it. So for that, CRPF is being sent. Right? So let's go back to our India yearbook. Please see page number 2. If you see page 1 and 2, that is physical features in continuation. In second page, first paragraph, first line itself, can you see some passes which are actually present? Jalipla, Nathula, Shipkila, Chumbi Valley, all these are important. So I know it is difficult for you to get one source where all these passes are present. So in the notes that I have given to you, you can see all the passes, but please remember, all these are not important. The second one, Banihal Pass, can you see? Banihal Pass, you can make a note. Banihal Pass is important because it connects Jammu with Kashmir. And if you see this pass, it is actually present in the Pirpanjal ranges. Valley of Kashmir is present in between two mountain passes, two mountain ranges, one Greater Himalayas, the other one is Pirpanjal ranges. So if you have two mountains, how can we go? It is through this pass. You might see in your atlas National Highway 1A, 1B, all these which connects Jammu and Kashmir actually passes through Banihal Pass. So Jammu and Kashmir is crucial, and within that this Banihal Pass is important for you. Then I want you to see in Sikkim you have Jalipla. Others are not required. I have just given you the information if required. So Jalipla is important. Nathula in Sikkim on the right side, please see. Nathula in Sikkim. Palakkad Gap, can you see? In Kerala. Western Ghats. This gap is crucial. Why? You might have read in NCERT geography books, or in your geography classes you would have read. Tamil Nadu is the state which receives rainfall during both the monsoons, that is your southwest monsoons and northeast monsoons. If you see, Tamil Nadu actually falls on the rain shadow area, but still it gets rainfall mainly because of this Palakkad Gap. So this is important. So how does the rain-fed areas in Tamil Nadu, rain shadow areas in Tamil Nadu, how do they get rainfall? It is because of this gap. And I want you to see the Zojila Pass at last, which is there. If you remember these 4-5 passes, it's enough. But most importantly, I want you to see this Sikkim once carefully. Can you see there is Chumbi Valley, Nathu La Pass and Jalip La Pass? There is dispute between China and Bhutan over territories which are present near this Chumbi Valley. So if they have problem, what is the issue? The issue is that China claims some portion which is closer to Chumbi Valley. And in their agreement, if China can succeed in getting areas closer to Chumbi Valley, then Chinese army can easily enter, or they can come closer to Siliguri corridor. Can you see the name? Siliguri corridor. If you see this point, it is only 21 kilometer. We also call it chicken neck. So if Bhutan and China border problem, if they resolve, and in that if Bhutan hands over the territories which are closer to Chumbi Valley, then it's a big security threat to India. There are talks going on between Bhutan and China where India is also giving significant information about what to talk and how to handle Chinese. An Indian army base is present in Bhutan to prevent Chinese utilizing these areas to come closer to Siliguri corridor. So what is important? Your Siliguri corridor is important. Chumbi Valley, Natula Pass, Jalipla Pass. All these three are part of Sikkim. So you need to remember these names. And at last, I want you to know which national highway passes through this Siliguri corridor. See, Siliguri corridor, can you see here you have below this Bangladesh, you have Nepal. So in between you have this region. So here, whichever national highway passes, that actually connects northeast with the rest. So which national highway passes? It is your National Highway 31. So this is important. Which national highway passes through Siliguri corridor? Because we keep claiming that there is no connectivity with Northeast India and it has to be through Siliguri corridor. So within the 21 kilometers, what all can you do? There are so many questions. So UPSC may ask you a geography based one where it may be regarding the national highway which passes through this area. One is passes, another one is the national highway. If you know these two, it is enough. So next, let's take India Yearbook again. In the second paragraph, in the second page, can you see third paragraph? The desert region can be divided into two parts, the Great Desert and Little Desert. See, the information is simply taken from the book and they may give you this question. So at that point of time, it should not take more than 30 seconds for you to answer. So can you see? Great Desert and Little Desert. The Great Desert extends from the edge of Run of Kutch beyond the Luni River northward. The whole of Rajasthan Sindh frontier runs through this. The Little Desert extends from the Luni between Jaisalmer and Jodhpur up to the northern west. These two can be given. So please mark this entire paragraph. At last, I want you to see between the Great and Little Desert lies a zone of absolutely sterile country consisting of rocky land cut up by limestone ridges. Wherever you have limestone ridges, as per geography, you will have karst topography also present there. So you should be knowing in India where exactly you have this karst topography. Then you have mountain ranges, which is already there in your NCERT books. No new information is required. So let's go to third page, river systems. Can you see last paragraph where it talks about the principal tributaries of Brahmaputra in India are Subansiri, Dhansiri, and till Manas. Brahmaputra in Bangladesh fed by Teesta. It can come because India-Bangladesh relationship, Teesta water dispute is there. So they may ask you, Teesta is a tributary of which of the following rivers? So if you don't have the geographical idea, you may get confused between Brahmaputra and Ganga. So first it joins Brahmaputra. So it is tributary of Brahmaputra. So the rivers which are streams which are present in Assam, northern Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh join Brahmaputra. Below that, in Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, the rivers which are there actually comes under Barak River. And Barak River is the head stream of Meghna. Right? I have given a question on this. I'll just explain you. If you take Purvanchal or Eastern Himalayas, like Western Ghats, you have two river systems flowing, one flowing towards west, another one flowing towards east. So the rivers, whichever flows towards west, especially in Nagaland, Manipur, they join Barak River, which in turn joins your Meghna. On the other hand, the east flowing rivers, they join Chindwin River, which is a tributary of Irrawaddy River in Myanmar. So is it important? China has developed ports around India called string of pearls. From Myanmar, the port which they have given is the Sitwe port. India wants to develop the port which is closer to this through a multimodal project, that is Kaladan multi-nodal project. So if you see, this is also a river which will actually help us to connect northeast with Myanmar. If you want to connect northeast India with Myanmar, this is the project which India is looking for. And today you have Aung San Suu Kyi and her backed government, which is closer to India. So we are expecting that this project to be finalized and active work will start. India has also started Act East policy. Earlier you had Look East policy, now you have Act East policy, which we will be discussing in further sessions, but I want you to know this geographical aspects. Next, if you're done, let's move to India Yearbook. In fourth page, you have Fifth paragraph. The entire country has been divided into 20 river basins comprising 12 major basins and 8 composite basins. Right? So which are these 12 major river basins? Indus, you all will be knowing. Don't separate Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna separately. They are together. We are seeing at a basin level. What is basin? Major river along with its tributaries. You have Godavari, Krishna. You may be aware of Kaveri, Mahanadi also. Pennar is the river which actually starts at Nandidurg in Karnataka. This Nandidurg actually forms a radial pattern type of rivers which originate, where you have a mountain and rivers originate from all sides. Pennar is also known as Upper Pinakani River. You have Lower Pinakani and other streams which originate, that is not required. Pennar River actually comes in between your Krishna and Kaveri. So UPSC may ask you a question to arrange the rivers from north to south. That question is framed. At that point, you should be knowing it is Godavari, Krishna, Pennar, and then Kaveri. Kaveri comes below. You may get confused when you see in Wikipedia and other sources. Usually they give Pennar to be lower Pinakani, but if you take Indian government websites, they consider Pennar to be upper Pinakani. Then you have Brahmani and Baitarni, which is just present in Odisha and Jharkhand. This is one of your national waterway. Brahmani, Baitarni. Krishna Godavari is one. Krishna Godavari basin forms fourth national waterway. Brahmani Baitarni is fifth national waterway, which we will be seeing in detail, so don't be worried now. Just know these are some of the major river basins. Sabarmati, Mahi, Narmada and Tapi. In all NCERT books, you would have read Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, to some extent Narmada and Tapi. But you might have not read about Pennar, Brahmani, Baitarni, Sabarmati and Mahi. Information regarding this is given in the additional notes that I have given, that is factual, and there is nothing much to explain. The 12 major river basins that you need to remember. And along with this, I have given Pennar River, where all it flows. The basin is given. Here is the Nandidurg, Kolar region. Additional information is given. What I want you to see is this fan-shaped basin. Pennar has fan-shaped basin. Only few basins have different shapes. Not everything. So if UPSC asks you, you should be ready. No need to see the tributaries and all. But when you revise your maps, just have an eye on them. Brahmani Baitarni, again I told, is in between Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Chotanagpur Plateau, near that. Then you have Sabarmati, which is roughly triangular in shape. Right? The basin is roughly triangular in shape. Brahmani Baitarni, you have long saucer shaped. I'll just go back and show you. Yeah. You have long sausage shape. Another one is roughly circular. So these four may be asked in match the following, where they may give you different basins and they may also ask you what exactly they are. I'm going a bit slow in the beginning because you have more points to see here. Once we go out of this session, or once we go out of this chapter, it's easy for us to understand later. Next, I want you to see in climate and seasons, one simple point which most of you might have read in the NCERT, but I'll just show 2 points here, and in NCERT what to see I will tell so that you can mark and revise it. In the first paragraph, so in page 5, first paragraph, last line, can you see in November and October, November, usually the northwestern India is cloudless. People get confused here because we get winter rainfall, but that will start only from December. So usually it is cloudless during this period. You may not get a question. You see second paragraph in fifth page, third line, where they have given 6 seasons name. You may not get a question, but still, given the factual data which UPSC asks from India Yearbook, if you can know these 6 names, if they ask and match the following, it may be beneficial. Rarely you may get, but still it is important. I have not told you to write anything on the white sheets. The main reason is that the first chapter completely is from prelims. So if you read it, it is more than enough. Next, you have flora. In flora, you have second paragraph, which is important from environment and ecology. Second paragraph, second line, India can be divided into 8 distinct floristic regions. This is important. They may ask you, which are the major floristic regions in India? So if you see Western Himalayas, Eastern Himalayas, Assam, Indus Plain, Ganga Plain, Deccan, Malabar and Andamans. Within this, what are present, like which species are present is actually explained, which is factual information is given in your next paragraph completely. Just read once, you will not get any question. Mark it as prelims. Just read once when you're revising now. At the end, you may not see it. It is not that important, but I want you to read this paragraph once. Then next page, page number 6. Please see faunal resources in India. In that 6th line, can you see, according to World Biogeographic Classification, India represents 2 of the major realms. One is Palearctic, which is your Himalayan region, Indo-Malayan, which is actually your Northeast India. So what exactly is this? We have divisions, classification within India. We have classifications at the world level as well. From the world point of view, India falls under 2 major realms. One is Palearctic and Indo-Malayan. So if UPSC asks you, you should be ready to say. Second, as per World Biogeographic Classification, we fall in 3 biomes: tropical humid forests, tropical dry deciduous forests, and warm deserts or semi-deserts. See here, we won't fall in any other category. Temperate and all are present, but still, as per World Biogeographic, it is only these 3. UPSC may play with the words here. That's why I told you language is important. One question can be from these 3 lines. To confuse you, there can be another question where they may ask you regarding the Wildlife Institute of India has proposed a modified classification which divides the country into 10 biogeographic regions. See, what is the difference? In the first one, the question is actually asking you, regarding World Biogeographic Classification. In the second one, it is asking as per Wildlife Institute of India. So which are these 10? Trans-Himalayas, Himalayan, Indian Desert, semi-arid regions, Western Ghats, Deccan Peninsula, Gangetic Plain, Northeast India, islands and coasts. So, should we know more in detail about this? Not at all. If you can just see the terms that is present in the options, the same thing will be given. That is why I'm telling you, if you are reading anything from India Yearbook, language, same words are important. So if you know these 10 biogeographic regions, and if they ask you, don't get confused in the exam, two things can come: World Biogeographic and Wildlife Institute of India. So as it is made by India, you have detailed classification. World Biogeographic has less. Next, let's move to 8th page, where we are seeing census, right? So in census, can you see? Census 2011 was the 15th census of India since 1872. So this is important. Along with this, I want you to see density of population between 2001 and 2011. It has increased by 17.5%. So this is important. How much? In 2011, 382. But increase, usually UPSC asks you the increase in the data. That is important. Then let's move to next topic. That is in page 9th. See population density. In that, can you see second paragraph? Second line, Bihar is the most thickly populated state. I told you last time it was West Bengal. Now it is Bihar. So please be careful. Sex ratio with respect to overall sex ratio and child sex ratio figures are important. For this, I'll give you detailed notes of all the facts that you need to remember with respect to population. It's not given here. We're just compiling what are all important. The language we are just looking into will give you that. If you read and remember only those facts, it is enough. And literacy is important. In literacy, first definition of literacy is important. For the purpose of census 2011, a person aged 7 and above who can both read and write with understanding in any language is treated as literate. What is the meaning of this? 7 and above. Why? Because from 6 to 14, you usually have your RT, right? So 7, at least 1 year of training is required to consider them to be literate or illiterate. Earlier, children below that was actually considered to be illiterate. Now, for me, what you have to remember here, 7 and above. 7 is an really odd number which you will not see in anything. Whether you take child mortality rate, whether you take adult ratio, anything, you don't see that 7 number. Literacy is one where you consider people aged 7 and above. So please try to remember this. Third paragraph, you have Kerala retained the position and it is followed by Lakshadweep. I'll tell what all you have to remember. Bihar ranks last. And there is other point, I expect question from the last 3 lines. Kerala also occupies the top slot in the country, both in male literacy with 96.1% and female literacy. On contrary, Bihar has recorded the lowest rates both in case of males and females. So if you take overall, Kerala and Bihar is there. Even when you take male and female literacy separately, Kerala is top and Bihar is this. So this people may not be knowing, so UPSC may ask you a question. So apart from this, if you see in this chapter, you have lot of tables being given. You need not remember all these tables. The main reason is that if you start reading all these tables, today you may remember few facts. Over a period of time, you will not be in a position to answer them, right? So before exam, don't remember lot of facts. Only those facts which you may remember and answer easily is fine. Else, don't try to get into that. Let's see next chapter. Please open page number 29. Before I start, am I audible? Please raise your hands. The next chapter is national symbols. This is factual, so let's go or let's move on quickly. National flag. Everyone knows the color and the things that are required. Just two facts which is important. The design of the national flag was adopted on July 22nd, 1947. And you have certain things with respect to flag code of India. We may expect a question on national flag mainly because of issues that are happening in JNU or NIT Srinagar. So you may ask me, so what type of question? Most of the information with respect to this is known, but if you have read NCERT books, in NCERT books, they have given some additional information with respect to national flag. That is on the first page, right? On the bind itself, you will usually see sometimes they give fundamental duties, sometimes they give regarding national animals and all. They have given enough information with respect to national flag. So I know it's difficult for you to locate it and read, so I have given the information. So before I go to national flag, I have given monsoon map in the note. The intention of this note is that the map, I want you to see this which is present in NCERT book as well. 2 days back, you might have seen that everywhere people are talking about normal monsoons. Few major newspapers actually carried this particular picture where they showed when monsoon is going to come and how is it going to solve the drought problems in India. So I thought, though you may revise in the NCERT book, I'll give it in my notes as well. So what questions can come? From the map itself, the question can be, arrange the following places in order of arrival of monsoons. So they may give you places like Kolkata, Patna, Gorakhpur, Allahabad, or they may give you till Punjab. So you should be knowing how the Arabian Sea branch will move and Bay of Bengal branch will move. You should know the dates properly. Usually monsoon moves from southwest. So usually people think that western states will get rainfall first and then the eastern states will get. But due to this Bay of Bengal branch and Arabian Sea branch, people who have read geography will be aware of this. There is variation, and you will see that in plains, Ganga plains, usually the movement of monsoon is from east to west, right? So it is from West Bengal, Bihar, UP, and then it goes to Punjab. So if they give places, please be prepared to see this carefully, right? Then I told you we'll see national flag. Yeah, national symbol, national flag. So the statement about national flag by Radhakrishnan is interesting. Go through it once. It tells you what are the different colors and what they stand for. And then as per flag code, what all can be done is given here. So I'll just explain some points. Flag can be flown on all days including Sundays and holidays on government buildings. It shall be flown on such a building at night also on very special occasions. This is the most important thing. Usually people think it is only from sunrise to sunset, but on very special occasions you can go for it. Flag should not be used as drapery except in state funerals where you have paramilitary funerals or army funerals. But remember, the flag must not be lowered into the grave or it should not be burnt in fire. When the flag is in damaged condition, this is the most important one, where most of the people, if this option is given, may think you are disrespecting flag. But see, when the flag is in damaged condition, it must not be thrown aside, but should be destroyed as a whole in private. Not in public, you should not come out and you should burn. They have given, the flag code says, see, the flag is damaged. So you cannot throw it and disrespect it. Rather than that, in private, you can actually destroy it by burning. This is given in flag code, right? Flag can be used as a costume or uniform. Even this is there. If the statement is given, I know majority will say, no, you cannot use it as a costume or uniform, but should not be used as undergarments or below the waist. So this is the condition. It must not be embroidered or printed upon cushions and napkins. You may think in costumes and uniform is there, why not on cushions and napkins? But it is not given. Showing disrespect or insult to the national flag is a punishable offense. So UPSC may add a word. Showing disrespect or insult to national flag is not a punishable offense. And I know most of the people will think yes, because no one is being punished or no serious offenses are being booked for those people. It must not be flown from a single masthead for different flags. You should have different mastheads for different flags. When a foreign dignitary travels in a car provided, the national flag is flown on the right side of the car and the flag of the foreign country on the left side. In the event of death of president, vice president and prime minister, the national flag is half-masted throughout the country. So all this information is present in NCERT book. When you go through it, you can see, but I have given what points you have to remember. So as I told you, whenever we take any session, it is not just the facts which are present in that, but we also try to link it with other sources which people may usually neglect. This is why we say that you have possibility of getting more questions, mainly because all the related one will also be read at the same time and you will be revising at the same time, which will help you to answer correctly in the exam. So before we go to next topic in the notes, please open India Yearbook. In that you have state emblem, right? So it is an adaptation from the Sarnath lion, capital of Ashoka. People who know, then can you see state emblem adaptation, that is how it is present at the, how actually the Sarnath lion capital is present and what are the animals that are present on this. If you see, you usually have 4 lions. Along with that, you have elephant, horse, bull and lion. I'll show you the picture. You have three lions which can be seen, and overall in the emblem you have four lions. And can you see here horse, bull, you have elephant and lion. But what we have adopted, the emblem which is present on most of the government bodies or cars, wherever you see the emblem, what all you observe? Three lions, and below that you see horse and bull. So this is the adopted version. So if UPSC asks you Sarnath lion capital, where if you go there and see how many are there, if you consider that you have 8 animals, 5 lion and other 3. But if you're talking about the adopted one, it is only 5. It is carved out of single block of polished sandstone. So this is important, just look into that. In the state emblem adopted by Government of India on January 26, 1950. You may ask me, sir, why are you actually making us remember these dates? UPSC may ask you, arrange the following national symbols on the basis of their adaptation, right? So then you should know what you are actually adopting. So the words Satyameva Jayate from Mundaka Upanishad, this was question in UPSC, which you will read in ancient history also, but it is present in the India Yearbook as well. Then let's take national anthem. The song composed originally in Bengali and it is adopted in Hindi, and it was adopted on January 24th, 1950. Emblem is 26th, national anthem is 24th. First you have national flag, then you have national anthem, then you have state emblem. Within these three I'm telling you, not with respect to all. And can you see it was first sung on December 27, 1911. This is the history question that I was actually talking to you. So national anthem was first sung in December 27, 1911. Before this you had Swadeshi movement. So obviously it was not sung during that time. The duration of national anthem is approximately 52 seconds. You may be knowing, but if UPSC asks factual questions on this, you should be in a position to answer. 52 seconds, it is approximate, so when you sing it may increase or decrease. Then you have national song. Can you see second line? It has equal status with Janaganamana. It was first sung at 1896 session of the Indian National Congress. So in Swadeshi movement, you had this song already. Then please see the English translation of this is actually done by Sri Aurobindo. So in Sanskrit, it was written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, but English translation is actually by Sri Aurobindo. Then national calendar, this was asked. See, it is based on Saka era. 2014 question. UPSC asked, when does Chaitra starts? First Chaitra, when does it fall? 22nd March normally and on 21st March in leap year. Right? So if you see this was question directly asked. That's why I keep telling you, every chapter, last page, last lines will be important, because this is one which students usually neglect. Right? So before we move to next chapter, so I'll just give you 2 minutes break. Today we will be extending the session. We'll be taking till 2.5 hours to 3. We will be covering the 9 chapters. Other chapters you need not go in detail, so we'll be going quickly, don't worry. So just if you have any doubts, you can ask me now. One question which has come is, why is Siliguri corridor important? As I told you, Siliguri corridor is present in between Nepal and Bangladesh. So it is only 21 kilometer. Only through this we can actually reach our Northeast India. Connectivity to Northeast India is difficult mainly because the gap through which we can reach Northeast India is only 21 kilometers. So if China can actually get access to the Chumbi Valley, and if they can block Siliguri corridor, and if there is war, and if they block this, they can easily capture or they can easily win in northeastern states. So this corridor is important from security point of view. There is a question, what is this? What is the difference between tributary and distributary? Tributary, if small rivers go and join bigger rivers, we call it tributary. Distributaries, if the larger river split into smaller rivers, we call it distributaries. Tributaries are always seen in the upstream. That is, if you take Ganga, upstream is your Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh and all. Distributaries are usually present on the deltas. When river, you might have read in geography, where river meanders when they enter into gentle plains. So whenever river enters into deltas, they split into smaller streams which look like distributaries. Tista falls into Ganga only after Brahmaputra joining into. So you cannot call Tista to be a tributary of Ganga because finally Brahmaputra and Ganga are joining. If you take, for example, Chambal, Betwa, these first join Yamuna and then they join Ganga. So you cannot say Chambal and Betwa are direct tributaries of Ganga. Yamuna is a tributary of Ganga and Chambal, Betwa are tributaries of Yamuna. So the same way, Tista earlier was flowing into Ganga, but now they have changed its course. We usually call it shifting of the courses of the rivers. So whenever river shifts, floods happens. This is the reason why you call Kosi to be the sorrow of Bihar. So Tista, which was actually flowing and joining into Ganga, now has shifted its course eastward. I repeat, Tista has shifted its course eastward and now it is a tributary of Brahmaputra. So if you're sticking to old books, there you might still read Tista to be a tributary of Ganga. So don't get confused. So Tista cannot be called as a direct tributary of Ganga. Meghna includes Brahmaputra. So Barak is a tributary of Brahmaputra. As I told you, the same logic applies here as well. There is a question, what is difference between La, Pass and Strait? When you take terms like Shipki La, Rohtang Pass, geographically, when we use, all these are passes. La and Pass both are passes. But it's given different terminology there. Based on the size, sometimes people say there is differentiation, but usually there is no significant difference between La and Pass. But when you take strait is a narrow channel which actually separates either two large land masses or two large ocean masses. If you have atlas with you, and if you can see Europe, especially near Spain, you have a strait called Strait of Gibraltar, which actually separates Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. It also separates Africa and Europe. So strait is a narrow channel, right? So if there is any question, just one more minute, you can relax and we'll start. So guys, can you all hear me again? Please raise your hands. We'll move to third chapter. First two chapters take time because a lot of factual information from prelims is there. But from now on, it is ministry based and some information based. So not every page is important. We'll be going quickly. So you might have felt we have already taken 1.5 hours. So when will we cover the rest? It's easy. That's the reason why I took more time. And first two chapters are meant for prelims. So questions for mains is very rare. Maybe about national flag you may get. But apart from that, there is nothing that you can see for mains. So now, third chapter, polity. Please open page number 45. There is nothing in the first few because for polity, there is no other book apart from Lakshmikant that you need to read. So don't worry. All this is some simple information given and all of these are covered in Lakshmikant already. If you see page 45, you have list of ministries or departments, isn't it? So this is one thing I told you. You may get questions about which department falls under which ministry. Most of it is simple. Just go through all the ministries once. You should be knowing so many ministries actually exist. But some important ministries where you get confused is what I want to see. Please see page 46, seventh one. Ministry of Communications and Information Technology. These three departments and these three departments are involved in Digital India initiative as well. So the three departments are required. Then see 11th one, Ministry of Defense. See all the four departments that are there because sometimes you may get confused when other departments are given. Ministry of Finance, see the departments once. These are all factual. So just mark whenever you're reading, you can see them. There is nothing much to explain. These are completely factual information. Then 21, Ministry of Home Affairs. In this, everyone knows internal security is under Home Affairs, but see Department of States. So usually you see that when Uttarakhand crisis, Arunachal Pradesh crisis, all this happens, usually information is taken by Ministry of Home Affairs. Then you have Department of Official Language. This majority of the students, they may think it belongs to Ministry of Culture or Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs rather than going for this. Department of Border Management. So people may get confused between Defense and Home Affairs. Border Management is under Ministry of Home Affairs. Next, page 49. See Ministry of Rural Development. So two departments, Department of Rural Development and Department of Land Resources. So land resources you may think is present in urban as well. So that is the only thing I have given. Next, please go to page 51. In that, can you see performance related incentives? Performance related incentives. First paragraph, you can take the white sheet. There in mains sheet, please write page number 51, performance related incentives. And this can be used in your ethics. Whenever in ethics case studies come where you have to punish the people who are not performing and where you have to create incentives for people to help them perform better, then you can use this paragraph. So the variable part of the pay depending on the performance which was recommended in 6th Pay Commission is taken seriously by the government. In one of the options that you frame in ethics, you can actually make this variable pay, because usually people tell, can we suggest these measures? It is already suggested by 6th Pay Commission. You can say it needs to be implemented properly. Then see page 52. You have operationalizing Sevottam. Sevottam is giving services, better services to the people. So again, this is ethics. So page 52, ethics. Page 52, assisting state government in implementing RFD. Again, it is from ethics point of view. If you see this, it is enough. Page 53, I'm just going through this mainly because there is no need of explanation and these are factual. National Authority Chemical Weapons Convention. Important. You may get a question from this. The first thing, when was it set up? It was during 1997. What is the role of this? And in third paragraph, the authority is responsible for CWC Act, right? So the entire paragraph is important. Why? It may come in prelims, it may come in mains. Please be prepared. You can write in both. 53 Chemical Weapons Convention. If you take Syrian issue, in Syria, whenever anything happened, UPSC never asked a direct question about the controversy, but it was indirectly related to data which was closer to that. When Arab Spring started, question was basically about what is Al Jazeera? When Syrian issue was more, question was where did Arab Spring started? That is Tunisia. Last year they asked a question, when migration in Syria was more, it was mainly associated with maps. Now, as this is newly added and proper information about the Chemical Weapons Convention is given, my request to you is, please see this carefully. UPSC will give you in the same language. Please ensure that you read this. There was a chemical weapon used in Syria and that chemical weapon's name is sarin. So if they ask you, you should be knowing chemical weapon used in Syria. was Sarin. It was way back, but still on these issues UPSC is asking previous year news. So if at all they ask about Syria, especially the chemical weapon which was used, sarin in places like Damascus. So if you have made a note of it, let me just go to next topic, that is your disaster management. All of us know that disaster management is important and it is a specific topic in mains itself. So you need not worry much. But see, disaster management symbol and other issues in prelims may come mainly because you have floods, you have droughts, and you have earthquakes. Disaster NDRF teams are present in almost all these areas. So UPSC may ask you a question about the NDRF. So I have taken some points which may come, just trying to ensure that no question is left. Disaster management NDMA logo, if you can see here, in that logo there is a meaning for every symbol that is present in the logo. So it reflects the aspirations of this national vision. Consider the following with respect to NDMA logo. It may come mainly because of lot of disasters that are happening and NDRF going all around. Most importantly, if you are aware, there was a lot of criticism about using certain personalities during the Chennai flood, where even some of the medicines and other things which were sent were being given the poster of some personalities, which was under criticism. So maybe UPSC may touch upon this. That is the only reason why I wanted to give this. And for those who are preparing for, this is prelims based. Disaster management cycle, this picture you can draw when you're writing from mains, and I have given you a link here. This is a document of 2005 NDMA Act. People who are preparing during mains, you can write in this mains related. People, whoever is preparing for disaster management, it is mandatory for you to read this. If you can read it, even though you have 30 to 40 pages worth reading, the language which you will write in the exam after reading this is usually of government language, which will give you more marks. So my request to you with respect to disaster management, which is mains oriented, I don't want to touch and go in detail about disaster management because you will be covering disaster management separately, but it is just an advice from my side. For the tablet students, we have already covered disaster management in detail, where important points from this act is also given to you. So don't worry about it. But for others, it's my sincere request, please try to ensure you read this act when you're going for mains. Next, page number 61. Page number 61. See, when is your civil services day? All of you are aspirants who will be celebrating it on April 21st. So let's hope by next year you will be celebrating at Mussoorie. Then you have public service delivery, Sevottam model. Please write ethics. It is ethics based. Seva service, Uttam excellent, service excellence. In ethics, you have different types of case studies. And if you see the last portion of syllabus in ethics, it actually talks about improving services in the governance. And for that, this Sevottam model will be beneficial. So please write it as mains and read it before mains, especially when you're reading ethics once. Then see page number 69. You have right to information. You have right to information in your polity paper. You have right to information even in ethics paper. But what I want you to see in this book is the language. The language is what UPSC requires. It explains what is right to information, why it is required for the citizen. See the terms like the act aims at creating an informed citizenry which would be better equipped to keep necessary vigil on instruments of governance and make the government more accountable to the governed. Just imagine if you can use this language. I get a lot of queries from people where they keep asking, so how exactly should we write answers? So there, if you can use this language, it will be beneficial. So next, let's take fourth chapter. Nothing else is required from this. It is polity based, which you will be covering, right? So in agriculture, first scheme that you have to see is the Krishonnati Yojana. It is an umbrella scheme under which other schemes are there. So the question can be, Krishonnati Yojana includes which of the following schemes? Just you can make a mark of it. Question, there you can write, under Krishonnati Yojana, which other schemes will come, and they may give you National Food Security Mission. So in this, first 3 lines are important, where you talk about rice, wheat and pulses to be grown by 10, 8 and 2 millions. Next you have National Food Security Mission on commercial crops. Which are these commercial crops? You have cotton, jute and sugarcane. That is in page 84. Can you see National Food Security Mission on commercial crops? Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture. In that, can you see 8th line? You have 3 missions: National Horticulture Mission for Northeast and Himalayan states, National Bamboo Mission. So under Integrated Development of Horticulture, Bamboo Mission is also present. Next, can you see National Mission on Oil Seeds and Oil Palm? So this is important both from prelims and mains. They may ask you what are the measures taken by Government of India to improve agricultural sector, because the Modi government has promised that they are going to double the farm income. So what are some of the measures? They may ask anything regarding agriculture. At last, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. These 5 they may ask you. So just read it now from prelims. Only the points are enough. From mains, this 5 points in detail, if you can write for agriculture related stuff, you can write easily. Next, you have Soil Health Card Scheme. So information which is there is enough, but in the notes that I have given you, I have talked about Soil Health Card Scheme in detail, right? In this, what is important? It is promoted by which department? First is promoted by which department? Second point is mainly associated with 12 parameters. So UPSC may ask you to consider soil health, which parameters are usually used. So these 12 parameters are important. So please try to remember these 12 parameters properly. And then this is important. It is given once in 3 years, and in that 3 years we will be covering almost everything. When are these soil samples taken? They are taken 2 times in a year. That is after harvesting of Rabi and Kharif crop respectively. Right? After harvesting and before harvesting. Then who takes it? the state government, and where it is being given is called as referral laboratory. And then you have something called as integrated nutrient management division, which actually tells how much fertilizer should be used for these properly, right? So soil health card scheme, whatever is required from exam point of view is given here. And before this you have Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana. As I told you, in the India Yearbook, schemes will be till December. So this is one additional scheme, and in this scheme, the details of this is not present in the ministry website, but whatever details is there, that is the press release made by the government. So UPSC usually asks you questions from the press release if it is directly released by the government. So even if you go to the website and see, it usually talks about this. So if at all questions come from Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana, then it has to be on these 4 points. So just try to see this once. Comparison of this Yojana with others I will be giving once I get detailed information, which comparison is present not in detailed format today. So by the end, if there is any detailed information present, then only UPSC will ask you. If government does not give detailed information, you won't get. So don't be worried about it. So it is factual information, that is, there is no upper limit on government subsidy and all. So don't worry. If you have any doubt in understanding, again you can ask me. I'll come back. As these are factual, I don't want to go in detail and waste your time. So let's spend some more time in understanding the concepts where the explanation is required. Next you have in the same page, that is page 85 in India Yearbook, you have Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. So what exactly is this? The first line which talks about the organic farming. So if UPSC asks you what is the purpose of this, then it is to promote organic farming, right? And again here under this program, group of farmers would be motivated to take up organic farming. 50 or more farmers will form a cluster having 50-acre land to take up organic farming under the scheme. So these points may come as question. Then please open page number 90. So can you see price stabilization fund for cereals and vegetables? Inflation is an issue. So to curb price rise, usually price stabilization fund is being given. And in this price stabilization fund, two things are there. One, to advance interest-free loans to states and central government agencies to support working capital on perishable agri-horticulture commodities when farmers needs to be protected. Alternatively, see, one, whenever rates fall down, this price stabilization fund will be used to protect the farmers. So if price falls, farmers will be given more money. If prices increases, customers will be protected by giving some subsidy while selling it to the customers. So you have both these things. So don't think price stabilization fund is only with respect to customers, it is also for the farmers. So whenever price falls down, money is given to farmers. Whenever price increases, money is given to customers, or subsidized material is provided to the customers. So currently it is actually given to onion and potato only. Then you have next important point, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. This I have told you, important, right? In this, can you see these 4 points? Ensuring access to water to every agricultural farm. See, here they are not saying we are giving only to disaster prone areas. We will be giving it to all the farms. So that is important. Second, increasing agricultural production and productivity by increasing availability and efficient use of water. Providing flexibility and autonomy to states, that is, states can plan and execute, need not be at the panchayat level or at the central government alone. ensuring a holistic approach by way of preparation of comprehensive district and state irrigation plans. If at all on Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, if question comes, then they may ask you to consider the following statements and they may make some mistakes in these four. So please be prepared on that. Then page 91, can you see the last one? Page 91, you have two things. One is saffron mission. I hope you are aware saffron is grown usually in Jammu and Kashmir, and to grow saffron you want soil called Karewa soil. Karewa, Karewa soil, which are actually formed from lakes. So if you have this, then only saffron can be grown. So this is important mainly because Jammu and Kashmir floods and all these were actually closed down. Then you have crop diversification in original Green Revolution states. Please write it as mains. Green Revolution still continues. Questions come in two forms. To areas where Green Revolution did not go, how are you going to improve? And the other one is where Green Revolution was there, what are you going to do? That is crop diversification. This is mains oriented. Then see page number 95. Page number 95. Second paragraph, actually third paragraph if you see, third line. The council is doing pioneering efforts for breeding of precious fish of Eastern India, Hilsa, towards its aquaculture. So Hilsa, you may get a question on this specifically. So that is the reason why I have given you. So Hilsa, there is effort to ensure that through aquaculture this is being grown much. Then in the same page, fifth paragraph, the council has launched new initiatives, Farmer First, which aims at enriching farmer-scientist interface for technology development and application, students and ARYA, attracting and retaining youth in agriculture. For sustainable development of agriculture, there are a lot of measures taken by the government. One is to ensure that the technology which the scientists are making in the lab has to reach to the farmers. Second, student ready, build skills of the students. Third, attract and retain youth in agriculture. This is one of the serious concerns given by a lot of people who say that Indian economy in agriculture may collapse, mainly because the youth are no more interested and they are shifting to urban places for other opportunities. Apart from this, see page number 105, last paragraph. It talks about Blue Revolution. Yep, Blue Revolution, it is for growth of fisheries and aquaculture in the country. So if they ask you Blue Revolution is related to what? It is regarding fisheries and aquaculture. So guys, as I keep telling you, India Yearbook is mainly factual, and if you know this factual information, it is enough. And if you read it from the book itself, you have a feeling that you have done. What about the other points which I have not marked? They are not so important. Usually most of the information is either technical or vague. So those are usually not asked by UPSC. If you can read this and follow this, it is more than enough. So next, before we move to next topic, which is simple again, I'll just finish next chapter and then let me take some questions because it doesn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes to complete this. See page number 109. Next is your culture and tourism. You have Sangeet Natak Academy. In that, the second paragraph, Asiatic Society of Bengal, you have Academy of Dance, Drama and Music, Academy of Letters and an Academy of Art and Culture. So Sangeet Natak Academy is of Dance, Drama, Music, Letters and Art and Architecture. So I just wanted you to know this specifically. Apart from this, rest all you will be seeing in your art and culture You need not worry about it. So for art and culture, there's a question what exactly to read. You can see CCRT website. The information present in CCRT website is more than enough for you. And also you can see NCRT book, right? NCRT book, 11th standard, and the subject name is fine arts. It's not book name, it's subject name. So just search with this. This should be enough. Within this chapter, go for page number 122 where tourism is being given, right? For essays related to tourism, information can be obtained from this. Within this, what is important is niche tourism products. Some products are actually considered to be developed. So Ministry of Tourism is trying to develop this. They are in Gulf tourism, Gulf tourism, wellness tourism. So you have cruise, adventure, medical, wellness, golf, polo. All these are part of niche tourism products. So UPSC may ask you in prelims, which of the following are niche tourism products? Very rare. So if at all you get, you should be ready to answer what are these new tourisms that are there, right? So with that, we end 5th chapter. Any questions you can ask for 2 minutes. In another 20-25 minutes at max, we'll be covering till 9th chapter. So guys, they have asked a question. What is the meaning of umbrella or flagship schemes? See, earlier there were different schemes. Now they will be brought under one scheme and it will be given a different name. So if you want to meet targets of each one, there will be some interconnection. Earlier every scheme was different. Now it is brought under one scheme. And second, regarding CCRT website itself has a compilation of all the material. You just need to go through it. There only gist is being given. I can provide you link. I'll mail you the link where exactly you get the notes and what issues to be seen. As it is art and culture, if I divert into traditional subjects like history, polity, economy, geography, and I start teaching them, then we will never be able to cover India Yearbook in detail. So that is the reason why I have not taken additional things which you read in your traditional subjects, but if it is not available anywhere in your NCERT or other products, then usually I give notes. If you want notes for anything, please inform us. We are ready to give you. And whenever you need anything else, it's not just this, for any other information also, you're our students, we will be giving you all the things that are required. But just inform us. There is different requirements of different students. There are few students who have written exam much before, and you are aware of all these. There are few students who have just started. So we need to have a balance between both. So any basic doubt, any basic information will be taught in the class irrespective of the level of the students. The second, wherever you need improvements, if you feel that some topics need in-depth information, and if that comes from multiple students, we are ready to take up that topic again and explain it. So you can be sure about it. After these classes, if you have queries which are not solved, you can mail us. We have mentors. We will contact you and we will try to address that. If it is related to only one student, we will be addressing it. But if it is significant and if it's a very good question, we try to address with everyone. So next guys, let's move to next important chapter, that is your basic economic data. As it clearly tells the economic data, right? So this is related to economy, and the data which is given in this chapter will be of no use because it is still December. So the data is required from economic survey, but there are some points from where you can get questions. So we are going to focus on these. The basic economic data is under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So if you see, the ministry has two wings. One is related to statistics, where it actually takes your inflation, NSSO, that is your your Central Statistical Office, National Sample Survey Office, National Statistics Office. These are taken care by Ministry of Statistics, that is Department of Statistics. There is second one, which is your program implementation. In this program implementation, there are three things. One is your 20-point program. Second, infrastructure and project monitoring. Third is your MP-LAD schemes. In the questions I have given you, MP-LADs comes under which ministry? I'll tell you, most of the people will either go for Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs or Ministry of Rural Development. Earlier, it was under Ministry of Rural Development. Now it is under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. MP-LADs, if this question comes, I'm telling you 95% of the people will first eliminate, not choose, eliminate Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, thinking that this won't be doing it. So for that purpose, this particular paragraph, especially the first paragraph, is important. Second, see page number 129. Can you see measures to contain inflation? Yep. Mark it as means. They have given you 9 points on how to control inflation. That is, the states and union territories are empowered to impose stock limits in respect of onion for a period of 1 year, and for pulses under Essential Commodities Act. Then you have what is Essential Commodities Act? During emergencies, some products can be shipped across. For example, if you take agricultural related products are usually taken care by the state government, and it is agricultural mandis which is present in one state, and farmers have to sell particularly in that. When you bring products under Essential Commodities Act, farmers can actually sell it wherever there is demand. So this will try to reduce the prices. Minimum export price. So whenever you have inflation, the export price will be increased so that, export cost or tax will be increased so that you are not selling it at higher cost. Import of onion or will be imports of that particular product will be reduced. That is, import duty will be reduced so that more products can come into India. Retail sale is actually done by SFAC and NAFED. No need to go into the particularities of these, what exactly it is and all. You have to see export of edible oils in bulk is prohibited except coconut oil, rice bran oil, and organic edible oil. The reason for this is production is more. States have been advised to allow free movement of fruits and vegetables by delisting them from APMC Act. I told you most of the goods actually come under Agricultural Produce Market Committee. So if you have to bring it at the national level, APMC Act is under state government. If you want to bring it under national government, then it has to be through Essential Commodities Act. So this is important. Rice and wheat is being released in open market because central government is one of the major procurer of rice and wheat, because they want to give it through public distribution system for the Food Security Act and all. Whenever prices increases, they are being sold in open market. In the National Consultative Meeting on July 7, 2015, Ministers of State Government for Consumer Affairs, Food and Civil Supplies were requested to take action against hoarding and black marketing. So, action against hoarding and black marketing. You need not write these things in detail. Even if you can mention the points, it is enough. You will not get this question in prelims. Usually it's a mains oriented topic specifically related to your economy paper. So before reading the inflation in economy, please try to read this once. Apart from this, please open page number 151. In this, there is salient features of MP-LAT schemes, right? Not every line is important. Fifth line, can you see? Increase it to 5 crore. So today under MP-LAT scheme, you will be given rupees 5 crore. Second, the funds released under the scheme are non-lapsable, that is, the funds not released in a particular year will be carried forward for making releases in the subsequent year subject to eligibility. This word non-lapsable can be given. And then it is important, how do the MPs, where do they actually spend? See, for Lok Sabha members, they usually do in their respective constituencies. Elected members of Rajya Sabha, so they are representatives of states, so they can actually spend in any district, whichever they want, in the state where they are elected. So if a Rajya Sabha member is being elected, say his hometown is in Karnataka, if he is being elected from Bihar, he cannot come and spend the MP-LAD money in Karnataka. He has to spend in any district in Bihar. So this is important. Second, in Lok Sabha, elected are there, Rajya Sabha elected are there, there are nominated members as well. So these people can do in any city, whichever they want within the country. So this 3 can be asked. So please be careful. These 3 points can be asked in the exam. So in this chapter, there is nothing more to be seen, but please open the notes. In the notes, after soil health card, I have given National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. So here we are going to see that National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture is one of the mission of the National Action Plan on Climate Change. Under this, there are some programs. So UPSC may ask you this. You can write both prelims and mains. In prelims, only what are the components that are present. In mains, you have to write these things in detail. One is rain-fed area development. That is, there are few areas which is not dependent on irrigation, but they are dependent upon the monsoon rainfall. So you have to develop those areas. On-farm water management, you take efficient measures to ensure that rainfall, if it happens, or irrigation, whenever it is being provided, water management technology and equipments are properly used to make the best use of it. Soil health management earlier was different. Now you have it through soil health card. Earlier it was just suggested. Now you have made a proper procedure of soil health card, which we just saw. Climate change and sustainable agriculture monitoring, modeling and networking. That is, what is the impact of climate change on the products that are present in or on the agricultural products, and we have to monitor what are the changes, whether it is being said that if you increase temperature by 1 degree Celsius, wheat production in the country will fall down. So you have these. So UPSC may usually ask you that what is the impact of climate change on not just agriculture but on sustainable agriculture. So for that, monitoring, modeling and networking is important. So if you take geography, especially when you take agriculture you read from economy point of view and geography point of view as well. But when you are reading about the climate change, then you have to read this in detail. So next chapter, in the basic economic data, the MP lads, I have told you the 3 schemes that was required, and there is a program by name 20-point program which was started in 1975 by Indira Gandhi. Even now it is being continued, mainly because the ambitions of this 20-point program is not yet attained. So it was modified in 1986 and again it was modified in 2006. It is actually implemented under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So guys, let's take 7th chapter, that is on commerce. So again, the data which is present in this is completely not useful as of now, mainly because it comes in economic survey. But still, there are 2 to 3 points which I want to cover in this particular chapter. So I'll just give some basic points that you need to see, but I want to take this chapter once economic survey is being done, because in economic survey, as I am repeating it again and again, in economic survey the data will be clear, the factual information, everything will be given in the present context. So that will be much more beneficial rather than just seeing it. So please don't think I have skipped this chapter. So when we take economic survey, we will be asking you to open this particular chapter and we'll be seeing those points that are important from economic survey and India Yearbook point of view, right? So commerce chapter, India Yearbook, we will be doing along with economic survey because it makes more sense. And once we take economic survey, lot of issues will be clear, then it is easy for me to come to this. So as I'm not getting in detail with this, I don't want to just skip with only few informations. I want you to take 8th chapter, that is communication and information technology. I'm not going out of commerce because of lack of time, but I want to do it along with economic survey. At last, communication and information technology, page number 189, right? Posts C, it was established by Lord Clive in the year 1766. It was further developed by Warren Hastings in the year 1774. Historic information may come, so please be prepared. And in the same paragraph, last line, the post offices touched the life of every person of the country. Even though the British established the post office for imperial interest, it, along with railways and telegraph, became one of the great engines of social development. So these 2 points are important. Then open page number 211. There is nothing much in between. All are technical information which is not required. There you have National E-Governance Plan. In that, can you see E-Bharat? The government of India received loans from World Bank for National E-Governance Plan, and its main intention is to establish internet facilities throughout and use it for governance purposes. Then you have Meghraj. It's to benefit from cloud technology. Department of Electronics and Telecommunication has actually called it Meghraj. It is Government of India Cloud. That is, it is mainly for cloud-based infrastructure resources and to make it available on demand. So Meghraj is important. Second important thing you can write, look and feel. When I say look and feel, it comes under which ministry? Or where exactly will you see this? Usually people may think it is the program of archaeological department, but it is actually of Department of Posts. So they give different names, and when UPSC asks us, we won't be in a position to answer them. So this is important. Apart from this, in this chapter, please see page number 236, where you can see Universal Service Obligation Fund. The cyber security which is present here is completely technical, not required from mains point of view. You can read it once in this chapter, but if it's being taught by science and tech faculty, there is no need to read. So you have page 236. Can you see Universal Service Obligation Fund? Can you see there are 6 streams in that, right? So they may ask you, consider the following with respect to Universal Service Obligation Fund. So what exactly is Universal Service Obligation Fund? See, Airtel, Vodafone are not interested to invest in rural areas. Connectivity will not be present in rural areas. So they don't want to get into those markets mainly because demand is less there. But it is the responsibility of the central government to ensure that, it is the responsibility of government to ensure that service is provided to these areas. So what they do, earlier they used to take 5% of tax which they get from these companies, they keep it separately and they try to use these funds to improve connectivity in rural areas where connectivity is less. So for this, we usually have Universal Service Obligation Fund. Fine. So that is all with respect to that chapter, but there is additional information. What is that? We have to see with respect to communication and information technology, that is your Digital India. We know Digital India is going to come. So I have seen from Digital India website only, and I have given you information that is required from prelims point of view. So the first 3 points are not so important, but the second is crucial. How Digital India will be realized? There is pillars of Digital India. There are 9 pillars of Digital India. So Digital India does not come under any department, single department. It has to be ensured by several departments, across departments, but it will be coordinated by Department of Electronics and Information Technology. So I have given you the 9 pillars, right? So I'll just show you the 9 pillars and the departments where they are actually working. So the first department is just 5 more minutes, will be ending. First is your broadband highways. What is the meaning of broadband highways? So in rural areas, in urban areas, there are other things like your USOF. Wherever government is involved in providing internet facilities, there you will see that there will be connectivity and companies will be established. So if you have broadband highway passing through rural area, then BPOs and call centers can be established in that. In urban areas, especially if we want to go to Northeast India and all, there usually we are planning to improve broadband connectivity. Now India has given more electricity supply to Bangladesh to provide broadband connectivity to Northeast India. So once if we can establish this broadband highways separately in the Northeast India, then we can actually establish IT related industries in those regions. Universal and this broadband highways has to be implemented by DIT. Then you have second thing, universal access to mobile connectivity, which has to be taken care by Department of Telecommunication. For this, they will be using Universal Service Obligation Fund. Third important thing, public internet access program. Everyone cannot have internet at home in rural areas. For that, 2 centers are there. One is Common Service Center, which is established under DIT. Second is the postal offices will have some internet connections where people can go and make the best use of it, especially they want to provide it to farmers, and it comes under Department of Posts. So third, so if you don't have system and if you want to get information, how do you get it? It will be through post offices and common service centers. Next you have e-governance, that is almost all the transactions, whatever government want to convey, everything will be through electronics. That is through IT interface, information and communication technology interface. So for that, it is not just DIT, but if e-governance has to be improved, then it has to be by all the ministries. Then you have e-Kranti, e-governance, all types of services, e-Kranti, electronic delivery of services, again by all the ministries. When I take e-governance, I may talk about biometric attendance, all these points, right? But e-Kranti, service delivery, where we can combine it with Sevottam model as well. Information to all should be provided by all the ministries. That is, whatever ministry is doing. In India, the major problem is not with lack of programs, but people's awareness about the programs is limited. So this will be used to provide informations to everyone. Then you have the main important thing is you need electronic equipments which are required to manufacture this. If you want mobiles to be given to rural people where internet facility can be used, then it has to be at a cheaper cost. You have seen Freedom 251 and other stuffs, right? So like that, if it has to come, then it has to be developed within. For that, electronics manufacturing is crucial. That is also done by DIT. Once you have broadband, so jobs will be given. Next and the last important pillar is your early harvest programs. What is the meaning of early harvest programs? Some programs has to be done on priority basis, and those programs, something like increasing the connectivity, giving more privilege to SC/ST dominated areas, northeast areas, left-wing extremism affected areas. So which districts should we give more priority? So early harvest programs, you usually take some schemes and give priority and ensure that it is done quickly, right? So this is regarding Digital India Initiative. These nine pillars, we're expecting further information to be added in the websites, mainly because of recent developments that has taken place. So I will be collecting more information and will be giving you a separate note at the end of India Yearbook lecture on this. So guys, we saw 8 chapters and you may actually feel, sir, is this enough? We have seen most of the important topics which are not present in other books and from where questions will come. If you are able to identify these and revise it carefully, it is more than enough. So we have completed 8 chapters. There are almost around 30 to 32 chapters. So we have 3 more weeks. I will be doing, most probably next week we will be extending much more, and we will be trying to cover all these schemes and India Yearbook by 3rd India Yearbook session. 4th session, I will try to give you extra information, and I will also try to give some facts which were important from 2015 India Yearbook, mainly because there you need not bring the book. I will only give you important points because I told you already that there were few modifications, major modifications which is there in India Yearbook. It is completely different from 2015, but some points may be required. For that, we will be seeing. I have got a question where a student has asked, sir, you have skipped so many schemes. Is it necessary for us to go through these schemes or should we glance through it once? Most of the important schemes of the ministries which is present in the ministry website and detailed information we have already covered. There is no need to read any other scheme that is not present here. And you need not read the schemes which I have not discussed. If at all you feel you may get a question and in examination hall, like, you should not feel any trouble, you read, but still you will see that 95% of the topics will be covered from what we have underlined. So don't be panic. Don't be panic. We will be doing these important schemes from the government point of view, additional information whenever we take from the websites. That's what I told you. In next three classes, I will be able to cover India Yearbook, along with that the additional schemes that is required. So I told you I will be covering 9 chapters, but I am ending at 8 chapters, mainly because there are several students who are actually requesting us that they were not prepared and they want to continue it next week, and next time when we take India Yearbook, please be prepared. We will be sitting at least half an hour more so that we can cover more topics. If you give me less time, we may have to compress it. I don't want to compromise on the quality. So, and don't be panic that, so will you rush through? No. If there are any topics left and if students request us to take more topics, we promise you we will take additional sessions. We will give you multiple sessions. Maybe another weekday we will give you another slot, or in weekend, Sunday morning and evening again we will give two sessions and try to ensure that all the topics is covered. But from my side, the request is, please tell us what else you need, and if you need detailed information about anything, if you need detailed notes about anything, please feel free to ask. We will be giving you, but with respect to traditional subjects, it is limited. So I cannot spend more time on that. Again, I'm telling you, for traditional subjects, you can contact us. We will help you out with proper material separately. But for this current affairs webinar, let's stick mostly to current affairs and the related issues. Thanks for listening so patiently. If you have any questions, I'll just give 5 more minutes. You can ask, and people who wants to leave, who are in hurry, can leave. There is an interesting question asked by a student. Till now, they have not read any current affairs. So, is the webinar session enough? See guys, current affairs is one area where completion cannot be felt. But I can guarantee you all the major topics and schemes which you have to read from different newspapers, different websites, different ministries, and different sources like Press Information Bureau, IDSA and all will be covered, and we will be giving it. So you can trust that 95% of your work will be done. And please don't be panic. Again and again I'm telling you, please don't be panic that we are covering only 10 to 11 topics. I'm telling you again and again, as we have India Yearbook and Economic Survey, which takes care of government schemes and most importantly economic issues, we did not cover more topics. But next time when you see, especially when we are taking October, November, and when we take December, then India Yearbook reduces. Then the number of topics will be more. Few students have requested us, please give us material for additional topics. My simple concern is, if material is the issue, I could have sold you only material. But you students are listening to us mainly for the classroom, where you need to know what is the factual thing that I have to study. Second important thing, you want to know how to think about different questions. So if I don't take that and if I just give it in writing, it is not equal to class. So that is why I'm telling you, even if it extends, we will do it. People who missed it, people who could not attend till the end, if you want, on request, we will send the entire lecture again so you can see those portions which you have missed, right? So please ensure, if there is anything in the feedback, give us. We are open to criticism. You give any information, any request, we are ready to do. But please feel free to ask us. So the other questions which are coming is very general. So I will be helping them out. If you have further questions, please feel free to mail us. There is a question asked, what should we read for the next session? Next session will be your current affairs session. If you read and come, there is no point. You prepare your traditional subjects. You come, listen to the lecture. If you have doubts, you can ask it in the next session. Most of the people, they ask what to read for next session is only to ensure that if they get any doubts, they want to clarify it. So go read India Yearbook points that I have underlined, then come back to me. Next session you ask me all the doubts, I am there to clarify. The same thing with current affairs as well. Second important thing, guys, I am helping you to mark lines within a chapter. Even though I'm telling that this chapter is not important, if there is 1 or 2 lines, I'm helping you to mark. Please don't ask us which chapters within these you have to read. So the lines are very less. If you can read it, it is enough. See, actually India Yearbook has lot of factual data which is not required. And the schemes, whenever they have explained, is not properly explained. So we avoid it wherever it is not required. But students should always go prepared by thinking that all my preparation is done. Even silly questions like when does Chaitra Masa start? Then Barak River, like your desert issues, anything if it comes, you should be ready to answer. Please download the question paper that is given to you. Try to answer them. At last, again, for any queries and suggestions, please mail us at IAS webinar byju's.com, right? It is IAS webinar. So please feel free. We are open to give you any information and any material that is required, right? Thank you.